what I want to talk about today is going to be about the tools of the trade and a lot of misconceptions that I see because some people say, oh, you got two whips, that's cruel. Oh, you got spurs. Oh, you got this bit. And people love to see horses that are being ridden without any bits, without a spurs, without a whip. But everything is gradual and it is going to depend a lot on what kind of horse you're riding. If you're riding a stallion and there's mares around, you got to realize that horses live by instinct. And when they have two main instincts, one is going to be to eat, to get fed, and the other instinct is going to be to breed. Stallions like to breed, mares like to be bred. So they're going to react to each other. A mare will react to a stallion will react to a mare, and it will take you for a ride. Okay, so if you have a gelding, usually it's not interested in anything but eating and sleeping. Okay, also, the horses are more comfortable either on their paddock. They're used to routine. They like their paddock. They like their stall. Okay, the horse is not going to come here and say, "Oh, I want to go. I want to work. I want to do all this stuff that you want me to do," just because they love it. It takes time to build that. Okay, for them to enjoy and realize they have a job. Now, one of the things is the whips. Here I have just a regular riding whip, a dressage whip, and this is what I call a piaffe whip, which is a longer extension. We're going to go back to revisit the turn on the hands and the turn on the haunches. And this is important because you want to control the hind end and you want to control the shoulders. You control the hind end of the shoulders, control the bending and the deflections, and you control the horse. The first thing I want to show you is how to start the turn on the hands. And that's by moving the haunches around the front legs. What I'm going to do first, I always start tapping on the hind leg because I want the hind leg to cross just the way that it's doing. Oh, so when you touch the leg, some horses are going to kick at the whip, and you have to be more assertive. Meaning, yeah, you have to tap them stronger until they start moving from the whip. This horse knows that the moment that I touch him, I don't even have to touch him. He just moves, 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 moves. Oh, okay. That's the way to start it from the leg. Then we go to the side. Here, here, here. Oh, good boy. And then we want to transfer this, where we just taught the horse. We want to transfer our foot is going to be sitting here. Our heel is going to be right here. Now you're going to put the pressure where your ankle or your spur is going to go. The reason why you need a spur is because it puts pressure on a smaller area. So it takes time to get a horse to do this. Just with the pressure. Oh. And of course, we're going to do everything on the opposite direction, just the same way from the leg, from the side. Oh, good boy. And from where the leg goes. Now from here, we're going to transfer to the lateral, to where the leg would go, right here. Just now I'm going to move the shoulder to move away from me. This is the basics of lateral movement, starting moving the shoulder and the haunches. The same things done from the saddle, the moving of the haunches around the hands, the shoulder around the haunches, but also the progression of the eights and what is necessary on the beginning. A lot of times I ride with two whips. They ask me, why you ride with two whips? Well, because the whip is to reinforce the leg. So is the spur. Ideally, we want to do what is invisible eights, which is you don't see any movement of the leg, you don't see any different position of the leg, because the horse is such in tune, and this has been done so many times that just with shift of the weight or a little pressure from upper leg or of the calf, the horse is going to react to it because he knows what is going to be asked from him. So that's the decreasing of the age. All the time you want to have what is decreasing of the leg and decreasing of the hand, which is a lighter contact and less pressure from the leg. It's going to be necessary to do the same movements, but that takes years. People love to see horses without a bridle, without a saddle, without a spurs, without a whip, but that takes years. I'm going to demonstrate how I can do a lot of the stuff just with a rope around the neck, but this because this horse has been already worked with a bit. He knows how to stop, and that's when we go into talking about the snaffle and the curve. The curve is like the brakes on the horse. The curve is to stop the horse. The snaffle is to give him direction. So the rein of the snaffle is going to ask for flexion. So now to the left and now to the right. While the rein on the curve is going to ask for collection, get your hind and under, get your shoulders up and stop. So if I walk and I hold this one, he's going to stop right there, like the brakes on your car. Okay. This one is going to ask him to turn. Now, another thing that I'm very big on is the fact that when you hold your reins should be held like a cup of tea with your index and your thumb. So we hold them like this. Thumb and index hold the reins, and this should be light. You know, you never grip the reins hard. You should not be no tension on your hand. Your hand has to be nice and soft. Your wrist nice and soft and relaxed. The other three fingers, they rest on top of your rein. And if you need to supple, you can do it with your fingers. You just touch with the finger and you supple. See that? He's giving a flexion. When I go and I say, hey, come this way, boom, 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 and he's bending and flexing to the right, just from the pressure of my pinky and these three fingers right here. But all the time, I'm not gripping the reins. My hands can be almost open because you want to have a very light contact. You don't want to be jerking on the horse's mouth, just like you would not like somebody to have a piece of metal on your mouth and be pulling hard. So we have to respect the mouth of the horse. And now I'm going to hold. I'm going to go the other way to the left. And I'm going to hold. And I'm halting with my body by sitting tall, elbows back, a natural position. Ask him to go and ask him to stop. Now watch. We're going to do it. Oh, good boy. But that's a product of constant training and the horse being used to it. You have to give him an association between your cues with your body, your cues with your weight, your cues with your hand, your cues with your leg, and your verbal cues. So when I say whoa, the horse learns that means to stop. This exercise that I did from the ground, we're going to start with the turn on the hands just from my leg right here. I'm going to ask him to move, 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 move. Good boy. Now we're going to do it to the left. And if you notice, I'm not even putting my spur on the horse. I'm just touching him my boot. But you saw me doing with the boot. Now I'm just going to do it with the pressure of my seat on my calf. Now I don't have to move my leg. But then again, that's because this horse has already gone through all the training from the beginning. Because believe me, when I started doing this, I had to use the spur and I had to push him with my spur just like I'm doing right now. And some days the horse might not be as responsive as they regularly are. And you might have to go back to square one, or maybe even use a little bit of whip and say, hey, come on, move. But the whip is never a weapon. I don't want my horse to be afraid of the whip. Okay, these horses were used for war, and these horses were used to being on a fight with sabers and swords and shields and arrows flying through the air. Okay, you think you want a horse that is not afraid? You don't want to be afraid of a sword and a guy coming at you with a sword. You think you want a horse to be afraid of a whip? No, your whip is a tool, just like your weapon, your sword is a tool. Okay, so I don't want the horse to be afraid. So if I can use the whip, and the horse should be like that, not afraid of it. Now we're gonna move the shoulder around the haunches, so that's a turn on the haunches. So all I want to do is just put pressure on the shoulder, and hold the haunches just with the pressure of my leg. That was to the right. Now right leg back. That's to the left. You're gonna grab a rope, and we're gonna do the same with just a rope without the reins. Now we have a rope around the neck, and we're gonna do the same exercise, the turn on the haunches, just with a rope. Oh, I can do a rein back. I can do a turn on the hands. Oh, all the way. Then we can go around and just hold with the rope. Oh, rein back. Good boy. So the point I want to make here is that all this takes constant training, constant practice, and it's not just going to happen that you just get on your horse and put a rope and no saddle and go, because you are actually risking to get hurt if you do that. It's going to take to be a little bit more assertive with your leg, assertive with the whip. Teach the horse, because what we're building here is a language, and it's a body language where the horse learns to respond to pressure and to contact. Okay, and also it's important to know, like, the reason I use a curve is because when I want to stop the horse, I don't want him to land heavy on the front legs and put all that pressure from all this 1,200-pound mass into the front legs. The horse has to learn to stop with the hind legs, right? So by applying pressure on the curve, the horse learns to use his hind end to stop, which is where the larger mass and the larger muscles are, back here. And that's when you see those sliding stops where the horse is sitting down. Now you don't want to use anything like the sliding shoes, because then that puts too much pressure on the front legs. The reason you want to stop is because there's something in front of you that either is coming at you, or there's like a ditch or something. You want to stop there. You don't want to slide into that. So I'm against the sliding. It's not part of my training. It's not part of what I believe in. That's basically it for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode.